balancing of this kind of a fixed wings becomes a very difficult task. Because somewhere in the mechanical engineering or somewhere concept called as a balancing of masses needs to be introduced. So you need to have a basic understanding of this particular concept. Then you are expected to know how to design some kind of a drag systems. How to eliminate this particular drag when I talk of this particular fixed wing concepts. Then I need to know very detailed concepts of the fluid mechanics concept, because CFD kind of analysis and etc. The second type, what it is called as a multi-robots and etc., rotors and etc. Just imagine balancing the one rotor itself is a difficult task, and you want to balance a multi-rotors, then you are expected to know some kind of a principles associated with the rotor dynamics and etc. Just I'm opening what exactly the things you are expected to look into from the microscopic point of view. People otherwise say that, okay, now getting some kind of a motors from the market, attaching it to the wings and just put some kind of a programming. If it is flying, clap. No, it is not that way. I'm talking to engineers, and that is the reason I said the scientific principles you are expected to incorporate whenever you are thinking of designing the systems and etc. Why do I talk about this one? Gone are the days where we are talking of a macroscopic drones in the era of a micro technology and nanotechnology. Right? People are talking of O technology. What it is O technology, biotechnology, microtechnology and nanotechnology. As everybody knows, when I say micro, 10 to the power of -6 meter. When I say nano, 10 to the power of -9. People are working to that level of drones. And that is the reason some of the highlights is shown over here. Micro UAVs, micro mimetic UAV, glimpses or balloons and etc. Now, why I'm talking about this? Because as a whole, it comprises any UAS systems. Unmanned aerial system comprises of your payload camera, autopilot, ground station, radio controller, RC controller and etc. But interfacing all these things with understanding at what altitude it can fly and how can I balance all those kind of a concepts becomes equally tedious. Why I'm saying this? If you look into the multi-rotors and fixed wing rotors, what are the strengths and the considerations which we need to consider in a snapshot, it is written on this particular slide. Your multi-rotors takes off vertically, whereas fixed wings are hand launch and etc. When I say the hand launch, immediately we say that, okay, now what is big deal? I'll hold it and I just push it. No, it is not that way. Please understand, when you deal with this kind of a concept, you are expected to know about the aerodynamics principles and etc. You are expected to know the structural integrity of that particular systems and etc. Why I'm saying this? Take a simple example. When I say the handheld, what I'm trying to say is that the weight of this particular system or drone is expected to be as light as possible, whereas the payload and capacity is expected to be very high. What is that I'm trying to address? I'm trying to address strain to weight ratio. When I say the strain to weight ratio, please understand, AI person is here who will appreciate this one. Whenever we design a structural system, we are expected to bring on all our design concept, and we bring two important design concepts, what we call it as a specific strength and specific stiffness. Let's understand. Am I talking with respect to the specific strength or am I talking with the specific stiffness? This is how all the aircraft industries are designing the structural components. All the automotive sectors are designing same kind of a principles we are expected to incorporate when we design the drones and etc. When I say specific strength, sigma by rho. When I talk about specific stiffness, E by rho, then I need to know what is the E of that particular material, what is the rho of that particular material. That's the reason I told you that you are expected to reduce the weight of the system and the payload capacities are expected to enhance. What are the scope of drones? That is the reason this particular slide will give you some kind of a glimpse. What is the maximum takeoff weight and the range category? And this is some kind of a handbooks are available. You are expected to get into those handbooks. Unfortunately, the moment we think of developing certain things, we don't get into the technical details of those kind of things. Whatever is available on the internet, we make use of and we try to fly. Please don't do that. Because you are investing money. I'm a teacher, I'm a poor person. Even 100 rupees is a big amount for me. Whatever, that's what I said. From the industry point of view, good number of industry people are here. The moment you get into the industry and etc., they say that you're going to waste minimization. cost cutting, and that is those kind of principles, management principles, you need to incorporate when you develop the systems. This is what the article which I liked the most, and I thought I'll just share this particular article, which titles "Drones is the Maritime Industry Ready" by Sean Perriel. He is the person who has written nicely this particular article. Just have a look into this particular article. You'll appreciate. Why I'm sharing this one? Then we are expected to look into the drones in the maritime environment. That's what I told you, that as a teacher, as a researcher, as a student, you are expected to read a lot. You have to see what exactly things are happening. We cannot indigenously develop everything, but we can mimic, and that is what I said. I started with that one, and in engineering also, we are following that particular concept that is called as industry. Also, we are following reverse engineering. That reverse engineering, Indian name is Jugaad. We study certain systems, because there is no point in reinventing the wheels, because I cannot spend that much of time. We don't have that much of time. So, but we can build a value addition. We can add a value addition to the existing systems, and that is what we are expected to do. If you look into this particular online portal, who are advocating a lot for for maritime industry and etc. If you look into this is called as a Drone Major Group. DMG was launched to support and grow the use of unmanned aerial vehicles or drones and other autonomous vehicles, focused on underwater, air, surface, space drones. The online marketplace demonstrates the growing capabilities in the maritime environment. Look at, people are trying to have their own portal and support the maritime industry. Drones can be used for security, environmental surveillance, to supply vessels with the spare parts, for emergency missions such search and rescue, as well as for ship and cargo inspections, etc. Inspection, a very difficult task, and that too when you are in the sea, which can be taken care by these robots, which can be taken care by these drones or UAVs. How nicely, look into this one. Improving ship safety and speeding up maintenance and repairs. Basically, I'm closely associated with the Indian Navy, very specifically Visakhapatnam, sir, Exila, because I'm developing some kind of a components for their warships, basically the fuel pump. Most of the captains are here, Gatek fuel pumps and etc., which is very difficult. Then why I'm quoting this kind of things? Most of the times they face a major problem with respect to that particular pump, which is very handy. You can literally hold it in your hand and etc. Sometimes when they are into the sea and certain things doesn't work, immediately they ask for this particular part. Transporting it through the sea takes a lot of time. But if I could able to deploy it by using this particular drone, it doesn't weigh much. And that too, the kind of because those ships are supplied from the Russia, and they're not giving this, services to India, because it's, after all, they are set up their business to earn the money. They are not there to do the charity. So indigenously, we are trying to develop those kind of fuel pumps. I'm working closely with Wipro's 3D printing. We are trying to develop those pumps. The very reason is that because they're asking us to develop it as light as possible, so that they can do this kind of a transportation onto those vessels, on those ships comfortably. How to do that? That's what I said. Replacing the need for human inspection, routine maintenance can be monitored remotely in real time. The surveyors providing instant feedback to the vessels or offshore superintendent. Thus, in turn, reduces the cost. That's what I told you that. Management principle you are expected to bring in, because today people are working a lot on reducing the cost cutting. Increases efficiency, significantly reduces the risk to human life during essential maintenance and etc. Similarly, making access challenges a breeze. Drones can be flown into the high up or hazardous areas to check the structural integrity of the vessels or offloaded cargoes and etc. Structural integrity is becoming a major issue in etc. Why I'm talking about the structural integrity? Most of the times you will find that the crack propagation starts from the surfaces itself only. You are expected to look at those kind of cracks which are getting initiated on the surface, and that is the reason in the aerospace industry and the marine industry, the surface engineering branch is becoming very popular. Even during winter season, we take care of surfaces, and that is the reason the cosmetic industries are making money a lot. Earlier, they used to make all those cosmetic products for taking care of the as you said, sir, Women's Day is coming, right, for them only. But today, they know that a lot of potential is there with gents also. That is the reason. Because surfaces, equally in engineering, surfaces plays a very important role. And for such kind of a big vessel, ships and etc., most of the failures are occurring because of this structural damages. The best examples are the Liberty ship. Because of the structural integrity issues, it collapsed into the two parts. Very own Titanic failed. Again, lot of material science is into the reasons are there into that one. Because the crack propagation, when you are initiating, it gets initiated, then you need to arrest the crack propagation. Such kind of a corrective measures, and that is the reason in the drone industry also people are trying to incorporate the self-healing structures and etc. The self-healing structures are getting deployed, or some kind of a paints are getting deployed to correct those structural cracks and etc. That is the reason, if you look into this, people are working a lot in the US, right, because they have got an agency called as a DARPA. They pump a lot of money to do a lot of defense or research and etc. Similarly, in India, people are working on to develop some kind of a drone so as to correct the structural damages and etc. Now, these are some of the things which I would like to highlight, as I'm running short of the time. Allotted time is around 35 minutes, right? So I have to stick on to the time also. That's what I told you, that when sometimes some areas where it is very difficult to go, there we can deploy these kind of drones with the sensory systems and etc. so that you can detect whether any gaseous, poisonous gases are getting leaked or not. This is the best example which I would like to quote before here. Mark tankers, everybody knows that. They are deploying drones for their supply chain management. And they could able to successfully demonstrate this particular thing. Revealed it had completed its first drone delivery to a shipbuilding on a wider program to test whether unmanned aerial vehicles can be used and implemented in its supply chain. The package was dropped from a height of 5 meters above the deck level and etc. That is how people are working a lot. Another one, maritime search and rescue operation, everybody knows that it is very difficult. And when the sea is rough, you cannot deploy so easily human beings over there. But the best solution for such kind of a rescue operation is the drones which you can deploy. Then again, you are expected to know how the environmental factors plays a very important role to control the drone flying and etc. Then you have to know all those kind of conditions which are supposed to be taken into account at the time of a design of this particular drones and etc. Drones have been able to spot and positively identify numerous small objects such as stationary jet skis and buoys at a 5 nanometers and etc. Just imagine, and that's what I told you, that microtechnology and nanotechnology are becoming part and parcel of maritime drones and etc. These are some of the highlights which I would like to present before you. Willman Ship Service announced its plans to start a new drone-based ship delivery service for its clients. The service will omit the need to launch boats to deliver the essentials such as critical documents or vital medical supplies, tank inspection, monitoring cargo, and stockpile levels to vessels at anchorages and etc. Like this one, Amaron emission monitoring system for drones for the betterment of this major emissions in the maritime environments. Like this one, we can go on talking some of the applications. Where are we? As a DRDO part and parcel, we are too into this kind of a UAV development. These are some kind of UAVs developed by the DRDO labs, which are before you: Lakshya, DRDO Rustum, Fluffy, Pawan, Nishan. Similarly, at a mine detection levels also, people are working a lot on this kind of a development of the drones. What is going to be the future? As I told you that gone are the days where we used to talk about macro level of drones development. People are working on to some kind of a nano level of drones and etc. And that is why I told you that these drones, I call it as a nature-inspired designs. People are trying to mimic mosquitoes. People are trying to mimic the flies. And that is the reason they are constantly observing these kind of creatures which are available in the nature, and they are trying to mimic and etc. These are the top 20 drone company rankings, right? Good number of big companies are getting into this particular drone manufacturing, design and development. India is also there are good number of private industries which are going to come into this particular sector in a big way. Apart from this one, I would like to say that, okay, now if you see this particular chart, this is the global aerial drone market, which is very expanding at a manifold. In concluding remark, which I would like to say, unmanned aerial vehicles are an exciting field in the world of aviation with a new discoveries. Over the next 16 years, UAVs will become a significant component of military, civil, and perhaps even commercial aviations. This is the Aviation Administration, Federal Aviation Administration, which says that believes there will be around 20,000 drones in the sky by 2020, although some say that figure will be much more, and it is going to be much more also. Why I am quoting this one? As I told you that we are engineers, we have to look into from a different perspective. We have to have the think differently capability. This is what generally a normal human being looks at. What it looks like sounds to be normal effort daily. But if you look at minutely, and you will come to know that if you add it to some kind of a decimal systems, which is nothing but the part and parcel of a micro and nanotechnology, just doing a small and incremental consistent efforts daily gives 37 times the result. I'm trying to just validate my statement. You have to have the capability to look at the things differently. But unfortunately today, we are blaming the system, and this is what the scenario we used to see. In 60s, this used to be the scenario, and after 2010, this is the scenario. Somewhere we are going wrong. With this note, I say thank you very much for your patience here. Thank you very much. No, sorry. That's what I said. The moment he read that particular statement, no question please, he's asking me, can we have some questions? Please remember, I told you that I follow what I say. Think differently. I have written over there, no question please. I'll not entertain one question, but questions are welcome. Yeah, so I have written no question.
Morning, sir. I'm Sanjeev Ogle, ex-marine engineer, and seeing your very interesting topic that you have taken up, and since you're in the defense, the main problem that we have on the ships is anti-piracy. So can drones be used on the ship? We cannot carry weapons on the ship, but can drones be used as a anti-piracy, can be used as an anti-piracy equipment to stop the pirates coming on board?
That is the reason, sir, if you look into a particular slide, there is an aspect ratio which you need to follow, what we call it as some kind of altitude ratio service. If you get into this one, you have to slightly develop the capabilities and interfacing with your signals and etc. It is possible, but few kilometers, I am doubtful. But up to some kilometers, let's say that a kilometer or so, people are working to take care of those kind of drones so that they can pass on the signals. Unfortunately, in electronic system, what is the problem is that this environmental factors plays an important. Those signals gets intercepted by this particular environmental factors and may give a wrong signal. Yes, the potential is there, but unless and until we look at some kind of a scaling factor, it's too early to say that can we deploy for such kind of conditions.
So what is the chances of jamming the communication between the drone and the
That's what I said, sir. You are expected to know the frequency systems and etc. Right? Unfortunately, the moment we think of deploying the sensors into our drones, we forget to calibrate it with respect to the Nyquist criteria. Those who are from the electronics, they will appreciate this particular. We simply buy those kind of sensors, we put it and we see whether it's flying or not. No. When you are into some kind of a serious business, you are expected to know the frequency ranges, its sensitivity, its accuracy, its resolution. At the same time, it should not interfere with kind of systems which are sensitive.
So my question is, like we asked for the anti-piracy job. If you are using this drone then those pirates who jam your signal, and then your phones are not working anymore. So chances of that.
Let me always I would like to answer such kind of questions in a related to our computer antivirus and etc. There are two companies. One develops the virus, another develops the antivirus. Definitely when they are the pirates, and those pirates are coming out with their much more advanced technology than the conventional people.